life. So teaching must come this profession must come to you as a call. Okay, we prefer to become teachers, and for that we need to communicate. That point also came up when I asked the question, what is the difference between a man and an animal? So we need to communicate. As a teacher, this one is a very, very important, communication. For communication, we need language. And what is language? We all know that we have that answer in our mind. Language is for communication, and we can use the same term. Language is communication, and it's a system. Language is a system for communication, and for communicating we have two things in common, that is e-language and I-language. Are you familiar with these terms, e-language and I-language? Yes or no? Hello? Are you there? Should I explain these terms, e-language and I-language, or Hina says no? So I can say the expansion of E and I. It's very simple. E-language is external language, and I-language is internal language. So all the languages we use, that is English or Malayalam or Hindi, they are all external language. Whether it is sign language also, it is external language, means we express our ideas. And what is I-language? I-language is internal language. We have a language for thought in us. The language for thought is not our mother tongue. Before we have that misconception that we think in our mother tongue. But linguists now say that we have a different sort of language. We have neurons in our brain, and that neurons have a different sort of language that is called I-language. So for communication, we think first, then we produce. So we have external language and internal language. So we have E-language and I-language for communication. And language development is the process children come to understand and communicate language during early childhood. Actually, when do we acquire language? When do we start acquiring language? Is it from the time of birth, or is it from the time of when as a fetu? As in the womb of our mothers. Actually, we learn language, or we acquire language since when we are in the womb of our mother. I'm sorry, there was a call. Okay. So acquisition takes place when fetu is developing in the womb of one's mother. So language acquisition starts from there. You might have heard the story of Sri Krishna and his sister Uttara. I think I am quite not sure whether it is Uttara or somebody else. Or anyhow, Abhimanyu was still in the womb of his mother, and Sri Krishna was telling a story to his sister, and Uttara, and Abhimanyu was not born. He was still in the womb of Uttara, and when Sri Krishna was telling the story, his sister was supporting him with a hum or with a no, with the S. Okay, good, like that. After some time, when Sri Krishna looked at her sister, he found that she has gone to sleep, she has slept. And still he is hearing that humming sound or hum sound from somewhere. He listened. It comes actually from the belly of Uttara. That is, Abhimanyu is replying to the story by spotting Krishna with a hum. So that sort of thing is happening. That from this story, we understood that a human fetu, or when you are only in the womb of your mother, you can still acquire language. You can still respond to language. So that story really support the arguments of the linguists. They say that language acquisition begins in the womb itself, and it ends only when you go to the tomb. So from womb to tomb, the language acquisition takes place. This is an important point. That's why our Anganawadis have started to educate these pregnant ladies. They are giving nutritious food to pregnant ladies, and they are giving classes for them. The mood of the mother will very much affect the baby, so this has given prior importance by the government. So here are some points for you. What I want you to do is pick out the numbers of the correct sentences. So I am going to share this. I have about 9 sentences here. And what you want to do is pick out the correct sentences or correct statements. I'm sharing my screen now. Can you see this? Hello? Okay, here are 9 sentences. Go through these sentences and pick out the correct statements. You don't need to type all these sentences there. Only the number of the correct sentences. Type it in the chat box. Type it together so that I can go through all the answers at a glance. So type it together. If 1, 6 and 9 are correct, you just type 1, 6, 9. And they type it together. So the first one is, language acquisition begins at the time of birth. We just pointed it out, whether it starts at the time of birth or earlier than. Okay, number 2, learning a language supplements the learning of another language. True or false? If it is true, you can type number 2. If it is not true, avoid it. And number 3, all languages have some common elements of grammar. Number 4, every child has an innate capacity to learn language. Every child has an innate capacity to learn language. Number 5, E-language and I-language are the 2 important components of language communication. Number 6. In the early stages of language acquisition, accuracy is more important than fluency. Number 7. We should correct the mistakes of the students strictly